another RetroJunkie.net video. Well, as promised, I'm building it, the Hackintosh. As you can see, nice new case, much nicer than the case I had back in the day as effectively a student. We'll be using a NEC DVD W, which came out of a LaCie external Firewire drive actually. Panasonic floppy, a Samsung 500 gig SATA hard drive. The power supply is 420 watt. Came with the case. Can't complain. It's a pretty cheap case. The steel's not very thick at all. It's terrible actually, but it's just a case. One of the good things was that it has a hard drive thing here for extra hard drives, but I only need one drive so it can go out and it can be cooled. Much more airflow. So there's the main board. We've got 1 GB of RAM in there at the moment, 2 512 chips. As you can see, it's got AGP and PCI Express with 2 PCI slots, one of which will populate with a SCSI card. Now it's got everything on board, which is what made it such a beautiful mainboard back in the day. The CPU we're using is, I think it's a Celeron 2.66. I do have another board of this, technically a backup board, but it has a blown capacitor, that one there, that I need to replace. So I'll just use this one for now. There's the back plate. That back plate cost me a fortune. The original seller actually sent me the back plate, I wouldn't have had this problem. But as you can see there, you got PS2 parallel, VGA, which is the GMA 900, based on the 915 chipset from what I remember. 4 USB 2 ports, Ethernet, and sound. There's a lot of ports, as far as I remember, as far as it being sound friendly. It did get stereo out of the green port. So I'm not too fussed about all that fancy surround sound and whatnot, but that is the layout and the specs. So we're going to give that a go, see how we end up. One of the interesting things about this particular design is that the power connector is in the middle of the main board, and the heatsink is, it's pretty big on this. I remember one of the problems I had building my first Hackintosh is that I couldn't close the case because it would create so much noise due to the fan having such a close clearance to the lid, and that was one of the stock Intel heatsinks. It's pretty bad. I ended up just getting a bigger case from memory. But yeah, trip down memory lane. So I'm going to go ahead, start getting this together, and hopefully we'll be up and running by morning. Although I doubt it because I'm getting pretty tired. It's 11 PM, December 31st, 2012. So this will probably be the second last video I do of it. I might just do one of it quickly booting to something, making sure it turns on. But stay tuned, this should be quite a fun ride. Good case though, cost nothing. Got a big giant power button there and a reset button. But this will be good, this will support everything. It'll run 10.4, which is a beautiful operating system. It'll have a floppy drive, DVD burner, CD burner. I do actually have a Firewire card here somewhere that I could also pop in. Got a Firewire SCSI on board, on the board I should say. Yeah, stay tuned, this is going to be a fun one. Up and running, there you go. Still before midnight, so it counts as a 2012 achievement. At least building the machine. It's good, having a floppy drive, you can actually use the floppy drive cable as cable ties in a way, cable management, which is very good. Now I'm trying to boot up to 10.4.8, and I've actually got a 1.5 GB of RAM. I didn't realise that. I had a gig chip and a 512. And oh, look at that. problems already. Haven't even managed to get it to boot yet. So I do remember that on my original Hackintosh I didn't use SATA. Had to use IDE. So yeah, I'll have to have a look, see if the issues with SATA were ever resolved. And we'll go from there. But yep, there's a good start. Just being able to get it to turn on. It's quite a beautiful heatsink, really. Look at that, isn't it? Just so much better than the stock Intel ones with the sort of spring-loaded mechanism. Such a bad idea. So many of those in the past that I've worked on, 3 of the 4 would lock in, and half the time I wouldn't know if I even had it locked in properly. I mean, how do you know? But with this one, it's got a plate on the back of the main board. It also prevents the main board being bent, because they sit there for that long, and sitting there that long with a crappy heatsink attached causes the board to bend and warp, which, if you know electronics, a bent board is never a good idea. So, yep, on to phase 2, trying to get it to boot to some distro of 10.4. Cool. We've hit GUI. Look at that spinning beach ball. The spinning beach ball in macOS is one of the most fantastic inventions. You'll notice any machine that runs an X3100 GMA by Intel will not ever do a spinning beach ball smoothly. And it's half of the user experience. Just being able to enjoy the beauty of the operating system. Oh, there we go. So my PS2 mouse works, and my PS2 keyboard works. And as you can see, that is just lovely. Look at that. Look at that barber pole. We're not running at native resolution, of course. It's probably 1024, but that's fine. It's all in the optimization afterwards. I do have to say though, booting from a CD or DVD just takes so long. Mac.nub 10410. Let's give this a go. So 1048 by thingy didn't work. Just have a poke around in disk utility, see if it sees SATA drive. Did notice in verbose mode that it did recognize some ICH6 devices for SATA and parallel ATA PATA. Come on, populate. Give me nothing but good news. I know you want to. Here we go. Unreal. Now to work out which options. This is always the fun bit because there's always so many options. Now I know this has a CPU is SSE3, which makes things a lot easier. Let's not mess around with these system kexts to use with looks like 1049 kernels, so I don't know if I want that. Enforce optional kernels, aren't they all optional? Oh, scrolling works. Wow. IOATA family. I hate it when they don't put descriptions. SATA support. Let's give that a tick. ICH6. What else is there we need to worry about? Oh dear. Graphics, we know we're after Intel integrated. GMA 900. Audio drivers, we can probably just get away with Azalea. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Networking. I don't know what it has. Realtek. Yeah, it might work. This motherboard was very close to the Apple Intel development hardware that they had. Well, let's see what happens with that. The problem is that this does take a while, but yeah, the checking my installation DVD. I haven't seen that for about 5 years. The hardware was very close to the Apple developer kit, dev kit that Apple released. So, and it's a very cheap board as well. I remember the at Macworld, or that other one that they do in the middle of the year for the developers. We'll call it Developer Conference because it's so late. Oh, 5 minutes till midnight on December 31st. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Now, yeah. So I should be able to get some sort of Ethernet support going. Wireless. What did I used to do for wireless? I used to use a. I used to have quite a bit of fun with Mac OS, trying to get it to run on netbooks. MSI Wind was one of my first successes. I remember I purchased it the minute it came out because it was such a small machine. I ended up selling it less than 2 weeks later because I got Mac OS running on it perfectly, but it wasn't what I wanted. I was very happy to get it working, but that's the problem. The problem is you just tend to get it working and then you don't actually use it. It's strange. I just like achieving things and then getting rid of things. Whereas this project is more just to remind me of days gone by and what good days they were. But if this machine could actually function and help me with my classic Mac LC475, it can probably help out another friend I know, which would be good. Because he has a lot of old Macs, and I don't know if he has any way to sort of image the hard drives. So if this works, it'll be very cool. Ideally I just need to find some SCSI drivers for those PCI cards I've got. A couple of them are Adaptec branded. The actual cards, not just the chips on them, which is very promising, because they are the gold standard in SCSI as far as I'm concerned, or at least back in the day. And let's have a look at the time now on the Nixie clock. 23:57. We're nearly there. Not with this install, unfortunately. Ramble for 3 more minutes. Gig and a half of RAM, that's pretty good. Always wanted a gig and a half of RAM. I think my original one had either 512 or a gig. 10.4 wasn't very demanding memory wise, with a minimum requirement of 256. Once you double that, you're in business. Take it up to a gig and there's no stopping you. Now 10.4.10, went as far as 10.4.11. Well, the additional update's worth it. Probably not. Although probably can be patched to be updated. Problem is with these discs is that I mean, look at that one. 10.4 for Intel x86. That one, that's an oldie. 10.4.3. Calendar in widgets was the old style. That is a long time ago. Long time ago. And the one I couldn't get to work was this one. Or at least the disc didn't have support for something which caused it to fail to boot. But never mind, because in 1 minute we're going to be ticking over into 2013. And what better way to do it? Installing 10.4 onto a Hackintosh I've rebuilt circa 2006, maybe 2005 even. It's a good day, except it's a Monday. That's the only, I guess that'll be solved in 30 seconds. Here we go. Still installing essentials. Slow. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2013. May it be the year I sort out all these random ISA and PCI cards I have lying around and just have a good time. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with an update soon. Here we are back with the Hackintosh. Ended up using a 1049. That particular version right there. Just give it a power on just to give you a quick demo. I still haven't worked out the power LEDs on the front of this case. The hard drive and the power. There's only so much you can do in a day. We'll boot verbose just so we can see what's going on. Because I must admit, I learned a lot of what I know about Mac OS by playing around with these things. It's amazing how much you can learn just by looking through logs. Wow, that is fast to boot. 10.4 really was the bomb. And I must have picked some right things. I've got a little sound icon. I don't actually have any speakers to test with. But we've got internet, which is cool. Over Ethernet, so that worked. The sound probably works. PS2 is working. Hard drives are recognised. System profiler will give us a bit more information. Graphics. We've got Core Imaging Quartz Extreme, which allows for things such as ripple effect. Crazy, I know, right? But that was the acid test to make sure that you've actually got Core Imaging Quartz Extreme enabled back in the day. So it works. Now I'm going to play around with some SCSI cards and just have a good time. Thanks for watching. RetroJunkie.net for more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.